Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. Got your questions regarding TLC, Raw, and other topics. Let's get started with the first one today from Showstopper526. Hey Aaron, what did you think of Raw? Also, do you think Lesnar versus Jericho might happen at Fastlane, and is it a good idea? Regarding Raw, I thought it was very much a mixed bag. I really enjoyed everything that Chris Jericho was involved with. I thought the middle of the show was terrible, particularly the stuff with the New Day. Just awful gimmick. It's not working. And I love the fact that Detroit shit on that match and they made it clear that they don't think the New Day is working either. So I was happy about that. I think that the main event was excellent. John Cena and Seth Rollins in the cage. I actually enjoyed that match more than just about everything at TLC except for the ladder match perhaps. But I felt that Rollins was at the top of his game. He was just being a classic heel trying to escape the cage at every opportunity. And I thought the match was very entertaining. And I like what WWE did with Brock Lesnar, have him come out, take out Chris Jericho, and then interfere at the end of the show and form an alliance with Seth Rollins. We'll see what happens with that. I like this fact that WWE started up the build-up towards the Royal Rumble, and, I think they did a very solid job with it. Got this question here from WWE fan Dark Arrow. Hey Aaron, was Seth Rollins shaking Paul Heyman's hand on Raw? Does that mean he might be a new Paul Heyman guy? Well, I'm a little bit concerned if that is the direction WWE is going in, where Seth Rollins eventually becomes a Paul Heyman guy. I mean, it's definitely possible, especially if Brock Lesnar is going to be gone after WrestleMania. What would WWE do with Paul Heyman? You know, having him with Seth Rollins would make sense, but I am a little bit concerned because Paul Heyman guys haven't exactly gone over really well, with the exception of CM Punk. But if Seth Rollins was the one Paul Heyman guy, let's say Brock Lesnar left, I think that it would definitely increase Seth Rollins' chances of staying at the top in WWE because all the focus would be on Seth Rollins. The problem before was that when you had Curtis Axel and Ryback, the focus was always on Brock Lesnar, and Curtis Axel and Ryback and Cesaro, they were all secondary in the storylines, and that really hurt them. So yeah, I think that Paul Heyman having Seth Rollins as his one guy, I think that would work in WWE. All right, this one comes from Baller W Shades. Hey Aaron, how would you book Dolph Ziggler's reign as IC champ? Would you have him hold it until WrestleMania? Please answer in video. Absolutely, I would definitely give him a lengthy title reign, and I would make the IC title more of a priority in WWE. When Brock Lesnar is not around with the WWE title, I would have the IC title be in the main event on Raw, at least a couple of times. Why not? Why not make the title mean something and have it be the title that everybody's fighting for while the WWE champion's not around? I don't see the problem with it. I would love to see the title elevated and be at the level that it was back in the day when the title was the stepping stone to the WWE title, and sometimes the IC title would be the main event. I mean, you look back at SummerSlam 92, I mean, that was really when the IC title was arguably at its peak of value. And, I would like to see the IC title go back to that. But, I think that it's unlikely that happens just because WWE sees the titles as props, and I don't see anything changing, to be honest, but I would love to see Dolph Ziggler in more high-profile matches defending the IC title. All right, this one comes from Sam Axe. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on the reports from NoDQ that some of the wrestlers at TLC were just phoning it in as a way to protest, and Cena had a meeting to tell the roster to be their best? Do you think that was legit? Would like your thoughts on it. Well, that report came from some guy on Reddit who's apparently an insider. He has inside information. I think that the guys at TLC gave their best effort. That's at least what I felt. I felt that Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt, they went out there to try and have the best match possible. That's what I felt. It didn't feel like those guys were phoning it in or giving you know, a subpar performance. I feel that they were really trying to steal the show the best way that they could. The problem is that you had the opening match where Dolph Ziggler and Luke Harper were doing all these crazy spots in the match, and you know, the crowd got burned out early, and you know, that was a problem, and the announcers were really tired and worn out. And you know, that was just the problem with WWE TLC. It wasn't the fault of the wrestlers. It was the fault of the people that put the show together, and you know, how the matches were positioned. You know, putting Ziggler's match on first, putting Cena in the middle of the show. You know, that definitely hurt the crowd heat for the main event. But I do feel that, you know, everybody, you know, Big Show, even Big Show and Rowan, I felt that they were really trying to have a good match. Didn't work out, but you can't really blame them because the match stipulation was dumb to begin with. So, you know, I do feel that the people that were at TLC and the matches were trying to steal the show and put on memorable performances. The problem is that, you know, they had the bad booking and the lack of crowd reactions working against them. All right, this next one comes from Chris Mace 39628. Could we see the Usos winning the tag titles back and then have a feud with the Ascension by WrestleMania 31? I would love to see that happen. I would love to see the Usos versus a fresh team that is working their way up in WWE at WrestleMania 31. Get some new blood in there for your biggest show of the year. I definitely think it's a good idea. I do see the Usos winning back the tag team titles sooner than later, and it only makes sense for the Usos to feud with the Ascension as the next big feud in the tag team division. You know, this is what I originally thought was going to happen all along, but then Gold and Stardust won the titles, and then we had Miz and Sandow win the titles. So, you know, WWE just flip-flopping the titles around a bit. But all along, I expected the Ascension. Once I knew they were coming to the main roster, I assumed that at some point it would be the Usos, since they're the top babyface tag team, against the Ascension. So I would definitely go with that for WrestleMania 31. All right, this one comes from Kayfabe Candy S. Is Roman Reigns the least prepared for the main event of the ex-Shielders? Well, certainly in terms of experience, he is. I mean, he came into WWE developmental around 2010, and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins were on the indie scene for several years before that. So yeah, in terms of in-ring ability, he's definitely the least experienced, and you know, some would say he is the least prepared. But he does have the WWE marketing machine fully behind him. The one thing that he has that the other two don't have is the look that WWE feels is enough to make it at the top. And that's ultimately what's important. If WWE can market Roman Reigns, if he's the most marketable guy for them, you know, he is going to be the one with the most edge to be the top star in WWE, because WWE will give their full support to him and do everything in their power to make sure that he gets over at that level. All right, got one more question here from Will Hardy 117. Do you believe a face turn for Miz Sandow will happen in the next few weeks, since lately he has been acting as a face star? I definitely think that that is the way this storyline is going to end, with The Miz and Miz Sandow. That's what makes sense. The crowd just keeps cheering for Mizdow week after week, and eventually Miz is going to be fed up, and there's going to be some sort of split between those two. I don't think it should happen in the near future, like in the next few weeks. I think that that is too soon. You should keep this thing going while it's hot. My best guess is that they'll break up around WrestleMania and do that match at WrestleMania. Since this is such a hot act, I would definitely put it on the WrestleMania card, have Miz Sandow one-on-one with The Miz. That's how I would do it, and I think that that's enough time where, you know, you can let this storyline play out and give it some time to breathe, and then, you know, around February, that's when you can do the big split and then have the match at WrestleMania. So, you know, that's how I would do it. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube.com/NoDQCAW. Make sure you vote in the 2014 NoDQ.com Year-End Awards. and I will see you guys next time for more NoDQ&A video.